Welcome back racers to the last round of the DMC Championship 2024. Once again in Eupen. But Eupen not only has brand new karts but a completely different track layout as well. And as usual we have each race in a different direction. And first of all, I will try to give you some tips on how to get a fast lap time that will put you into the lead when you battle with your friends. Going into the hot lap with warm-up tires, which is not as easy as you might think in the winter, you want to take a late apex to have a maximum speed at the start of the lap. On this triple right-hander you want to stay as close as possible to all three apexes, as there is literally zero grip on the outside. Remember to turn early, as the grip is a bit pointy there, and avoid sliding as you will lose a lot of momentum. Take as much speed as you can through this left-hander to power up the straight. It is very important to drive a smooth line through the chicane and to take a late apex going up the hill to shorten the driven distance. The downhill section, however, is one of the most crucial places to gain time at Eupen. So you take a late apex through the left-hander and even more late apex to this right-hander in order to be able to drive straight down. The triple right-hander is about going flat out to the second apex, flicking the kart around with the help of the brakes and going straight flat to the third apex just to make the left hand flat out. Try to get to the left side of the track and brake into the left-hander. You can take back full throttle straight away, as there's plenty of grip on the blue tarmac. You can take the corner at full throttle and finish your lap with a tight final corner to get to the line. Remember to always lean to the outside as you want to transfer the grip to the outside wheel. And if you want to see how to go fast in the reverse direction, I have some advice. Go into the lap trying to be slow enough to avoid any sliding, then go up the start-finish straight and brake as late as you can into turn 1. You can really put the pedal to the metal before the apex, but I personally like to take a tighter line at the entrance and control the kart with the throttle. Going into the right-hander you need to hit the accelerator early at the start of the blue tarmac to get power into the dark section. After going through both of the right-hander flat out, you rotate the kart on the brakes just to take the small lift of the gas between both apexes to avoid drifting wide. At the uphill section you drive straight to the outside in order to take a tidy line through the left and right hander. Coming downhill you want to turn in very early, as you will be bouncing around a lot on the outside rubber. Coming through the left-hander you want to throw your kart to the right of the barrier to get power up the straight. Normally you should stay on the left side, but there were some water splashes, so I went for a smooth line, and remember to let the kart roll. You want to use the whole track and not overcorrect. The triple left-hander is complicated because you enter from the center of the track, have to stay close to all three apexes, dosing the throttle to get maximum speed through the finish line. Now we go for the formation lap in my disappointing qualifying position of P15 with a very experienced driver Klaus in front of me. Green, 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 and off we go for the first of two 20-minute races. Taking a semi-defensive line, I immediately noticed that I had a slight advantage in corner speeds. Leo has never driven this track layout, so P23 was not surprising, as he lost another position to the driver in the white suit. But there's a long way to go, and there's a lot to be gained in 20 minutes of racing. I seemed to be fast in the triple right-hander, as I wanted to get past Klaus as quickly as possible. When I followed him into the final section, I had no idea where to go. But with the help of a little tap, I stayed outside and prepared for a switchback at the last possible moment. Now it was time to put my head down and catch up. On the back straight, I was 2 seconds down on P13, which is not a lot when you consider there are still over 50 laps to go. Fortunately, I hit the barriers not once, but twice on this uphill chicane, which cost me enough time to allow Klaus to get back on the inside. Not only did I lose the position, but I knew there was no chance of me staying behind for the whole race. So it was time to get back to 14th place. I knew it was the fairest move ever, but sometimes you got to watch out, and you know in this race it's quite tricky to predict what will happen. I mean, you can be the judge whether or not this final corner incident was fair or not, but anyways. Liam is on P14 as he noticed that his kart is getting slower and slower with each lap, and now he feels the pressure from the people behind him, waiting like a shark for Liam to make a mistake. And there is a gap needed for someone to slip through. But not only him, Toby's right behind him and has the upper hand with his position on the inside. The display says there is a big gap to P7, but there really isn't. Personally, I like the screens with the information they provide, although the chances of me looking at them are definitely less than just turning my head around to get a visible picture of the gap. And the gaps are only updated 3 times per lap, so they are not really reliable. Coming back to the race, P7 is still a good position to fight for, but the rest of the field is obviously not getting any slower. But, of course, with the kart that is getting slower and with the drivers performing at the highest level, it is hard to defend, even if you are in an indoor track, which is not usually known for good overtaking opportunities. And it happened as it had to happen. Liam was overtaken, not only by Moritz but also by Andre, a former 24 Hours of Nürburgring driver. But it's already the penultimate lap and now the final lap, so there are few to no opportunities to overtake anyone. Whilst I drove a pretty lone race in P14, Leo has finished in P22 and Liam is about to finish in P9. For the second qualifying session of the day, we have changed the direction, as you may have noticed. Also, because of the snowy weather outside, the fans are actually blowing the snow right into the hall and onto the track. As you can see, a lot of people are sliding out of the right-hander. Now it's time for the post qualifying, where we line up for the grid. Where we were discussing the non-functioning screen on the steering wheel, which is actually very difficult, as you know the cars around are very loud and being in the hall doesn't make it any easier. I noticed the screen that displays the grid position, and let us say that with the typical racing driver excuses, competing in a competitive field is hard because the only time I drive rental cars is at the races and maybe at practice sessions before. But with that in mind and knowing that my position is P6, I'm very happy with that. So it's me in P6, Leo in P8 and Liam in P10. which are pretty good positions, at least for me and Leo. And again, green, 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 and off we go for the second race. The driver in front of Liam in the blue Red Bull hoodie is usually quite fast, so it's advisable to follow him when overtaking, which is exactly what happened as Leo hit the inside curb, causing him to go off the racing line. Maybe Leo didn't like that because he pushed Liam a bit into the wall, but of course it wasn't a purpose. So for now Leo should just follow Liam, but this race is going to have a surprising ending. And that just because of the fact that it got slippery red at the bridge entry, which made a lot of drivers lose control. I think Eupen hasn't got red flags, or the communication just missed out on that one. But we drove and drove for I think about 3 minutes, even though it doesn't make any sense to continue racing at this point. And there is it finally. Luckily, nobody was hurt. And with that comes the end of the video. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep your engines running. I'll catch you in the next one.